welcome to the Fear of Anything podcast, episode 65, the best episode since 64. I'm here with Paps.
Hello. Oh,
And-
I just bumped into my microphone, sorry. Hello.
Yeah, you sound a lot louder than you were before. Also part of my sound check, I don't know.
Sorry, guys.
And
my
we have
croaky voice, which I'll mention in a moment, but carry on.
Devon.
Hello.
Hello, Devon.
Devon, I have a question. How do you think this is going so far?
It's great.
I feel like we haven't been here for so
Great
long.
start.
Good.
Oh, dear.
I've got a little icebreaker for you guys.
Oh, right. Okay. I was
Yeah.
going to ask how you are.
Oh, okay. I'm doing great, thank you.
Are you okay?
So great that I have an icebreaker.
Oh, great stuff. Let's
What
hear
would your one act be? Your legacy if you were raised to power as the president or prime minister or something like that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What would I do that people would always point back towards?
Yeah, and be you were that guy, you know?
Depends if you achieved it, I suppose. You could have an aim, couldn't you, to
Yeah, that's true.
to solve world hunger or to avert a climate crisis or universal income for everyone. The Star Trek future, you know, where poverty and deprivation were a thing of the past.
Yes, or go
But
to
if
war
you
with
don't
Russia.
achieve it, if you don't achieve it, then you're not going to be remembered for it, are you? Or perhaps you just fix the NHS or something, you know. Start small.
Easy.
Bring
What about
back
you,
the
Devon?
bendy bus.
Bring back the bendy bus, yeah. Very
Yeah,
good.
that'd be well worth your time, I think.
That's a high aspiration.
Yeah. I think I'd do
Yeah,
charity conscription.
Oh,
So-
what, everybody has to work for a charity?
yeah, for an allotted time at least, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead of war, you know, like army
conscription, yeah.
conscription, yeah, not prescription, yeah.
Or go to war with Russia, who knows. One way or the other.
Oh, dear.
How are you guys doing? You mentioned you had a croaky voice.
I had got a croaky voice. That's partly because I'm still getting over 2 weeks off work because of hiding from anybody else because of COVID lurking around these parts as it is. So my voice is still a bit croaky, as you can probably tell. But we'll get there. Keep pushing on, don't you?
Quite.
In my workplace, if you test positive for COVID and you still feel well enough, you can come into work.
Really? So
It
they
does seem
don't care
bizarre.
anymore.
No.
Yeah, I think people have given up, haven't they? I mean, they call it learning to live with it, but how can you live with the prospect of 200 people a day dying from something that's preventable, or avoidable rather, not preventable, but certainly more avoidable. Anyway, we don't do
Wow.
politics on this show, but it does frustrate me sometimes that hospitals are fuller now than they were at its peak, and yet look at what we did to protect the NHS. We're not bothering anymore. Yeah, the NHS can struggle on by itself.
I feel like for our 100th episode, we should do a politics episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nail our colours to the mast. Yeah.
Oh boy.
People might never tune in again.
Shall we move on to the pickups?
Oh,
Did either of you, both of you, have any thoughts on the last episode we did, which was The Magician's Nephew, I believe?
no, but I was talking about it to somebody, and they recommended another strongly well thought of C.S. Lewis book. What are the other ones called? Oh gosh,
Are we talking fiction or non-fiction?
No, another one in the series. Magician's Nephew
I
was
see.
towards the end of the run, wasn't it? But there's another one that I was talking to my spiritual mentor, and he pointed out to me, without knowing that we'd been reading The Magician's Nephew,
Yeah.
the benefits of reading this other C.S. Lewis book within the series.
The horse
Well,
and the boy.
there's...
Say them again.
Well, I don't know all of them, but I forget.
Okay, so we've got The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, The Horse and His Boy, you've got The Final Battle, which is technically the last one.
That's the one, I think.
yeah,
carry
Final
on.
Battle.
Carry on, just in case it's not. Oh.
You got The Silver Chair, and that's all I can remember right now.
I think it might have been the final battle because with my mentor we were discussing some of the end time prophecies that you can read in the Bible, in the books of Daniel and Revelation, and one of the chapters in Matthew as well, which is where we particularly were looking from. And so I think that's where the ideas around the final battle C.S. Lewis book were discussed. So yeah. And I haven't done that yet, so maybe I will.
Interesting thing you raised with that, because of how I enjoyed Magician's Nephew last time. I got a hankering to see how all the other books ended, so I started listening to the review of the last battle, and it kind of got me really into the idea of actually just listening to all the books through, properly. So yeah, I'm doing that at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't got very far, but yeah.
Would be interesting to hear your perspective on how Magician's Nephew fares against the others, because we did feel it was a bit cobbled together, I think, if I'm summarising our review of it. It
Yes,
felt
it's still fun, but yeah.
it was, yeah, it had its highs. It also had its lows in terms of writing technique and referencing back to things that, or forward to things. You know what I mean? Didn't we? We thought he was being clever when really he wasn't.
I'm
He's
sure
very clever. Not saying that C.S.
Yeah.
Lewis isn't clever.
Mm.
We were giving him extra credit, I think. Am I recalling that correctly?
I think
No,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested to hear how the others fare.
Okay, well, I'll consider that my homework for next episode. Listen to all the books.
I want to report on my desk first thing Monday morning.
All right, let's move on to the news feed then. Any news?
Oh, you got to allow a little gap.
Sorry.
And now it's time for Anything Newsfeed.
Any news? Long enough?
Let Devon speak first if you've got anything. Because I feel like it's just been me and you so far. Come on, Devon.
Well, I see
Let's
that
hear.
we've got the Oscars on the list.
Oh,
And is that because of the reason I thought it was?
Well, no, actually, because I put this on the list when it was still the nominees.
Really?
Ah.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask, did The Last Night get a nomination? Because you guys were raving about how
the
good
Last
it was.
Duel. Last Duel.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, close enough. The Last
No,
Duel.
I don't think it did. I
Really?
didn't see it in the list anywhere.
It's a scam.
Do
Because
want
you
me
were
to
saying
go-
it's the best film you've ever seen or something. Well,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It was. Yeah. That just shows you how the Academy don't always get it right.
Ooh, scathing.
Let me just see if I can pull up my list of films. I mean, obviously, my main interest in the Oscars is for my collection, which I've mentioned here before, the Best Picture nominee, which is the ones I collect. I do have interest in some of the other categories, but struggling now to get my spreadsheet to open. Of course, it's all on a spreadsheet. The list for Best Picture included these, if you're interested: Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, which I think we've spoken
Yeah.
about before, which was a surprise, I think, because it was a straight to Netflix film.
Yeah.
June, which we did go to see in July, not June.
Yeah, very sad.
Your best joke of last year, I think.
Oh, really? that's sad.
King Richard, which didn't win Best Picture, but did go on to give Will Smith his Best Actor award,
Hmm.
controversially, which he may now have to give back. Licorice Pizza, which I'm still yet to see and looking forward to seeing, which did get a lot of praise. Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. So they were the nine contenders for Best Picture. And in the end, the winner was Coda, which is interesting because of the fact that it was, I think I'm correct in saying, performed by and directed by, I think, a cast of people and ensemble of deaf people. So it was really a great achievement, I think, and I'm interested in it because now whether it won because of that, it's the first time the deaf community have come together in such a way to create such a film, a well thought of film, and so it deserved its reward for that or not. I don't know. And as I say, I'm not up on how it performed in other categories, but I was really rooting for Belfast. That was my favourite of that list, even better than June.
It did horribly on the budget of 10 million, box
What,
office
Coda?
1 million. Yeah.
Coda, yeah. It wasn't a big hit. I don't think we've actually seen it in a theatrical release in the UK.
So they just won because it's deaf.
Probably.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but anyway, it's an interesting film, and I'm sure it deserves high praise.
Fair enough.
Until I see it, I wouldn't like to speculate whether it deserves to win Best Picture or not.
I think Dune should have won every category.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only one of those films I've seen.
Okay.
I can't believe Don't Look Up is on there, and
I know.
The Last Duel isn't. Like, come on,
Yeah.
that's got to be another
Don't Look
political
Up.
thing.
Do you
Why?
think?
What was so political about?
It was all about
Yeah.
climate change
A denial, really.
denial,
Denying the
yeah.
obvious. Yeah.
and how the
there's an
world's going to
asteroid.
end, and we're all just ignoring it or whatever.
Yeah. Don't believe the scientists, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they know?
Yeah, but it's actually about an asteroid coming to hit the Earth, but it's quite clearly like trying to reflect how people are in denial of the climate change.
Or COVID or any
Yeah.
other conspiracy that you want to fill in the gap here.
And it was enjoyable, but it's not like
was.
a masterpiece. It shouldn't be nominated for Best Picture. Like, come on.
I think it was a great film, but I think there were better films that could have been on that list.
Yeah.
It sounds like a bit of a cheap shot as well. I mean, you're not exactly informing anybody of anything that they don't already know, surely.
I think it was a bit of an eye opener when you watch it as to how easily people are duped into believing what you if your favourite I don't know, news reporter or news channel declare something to be true, how easily people are swayed by that, you know. Yeah, and how ratings, even the presidential rating is more important than reality,
Yeah.
or attempts to avert a catastrophe. Yeah. Oh, it wouldn't be good for the numbers, it wouldn't be good for our reputation. Having said we don't do politics on this podcast, let's talk about Will Smith.
Oh, you have something to say about Will Smith, do you?
Well, I'm sure you can't fail to have seen that he's been in a recent sequel to the Rocky franchise, haven't you?
Is that the King Richard one?
Yeah, but his performance at the Oscars.
Yes.
Did you hear about it?
Yes, of course.
It was a little joke. I don't do jokes very well.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
He was auditioning for being in the next Rocky film,
Right.
Very
So I
good.
had no idea what King Richard was about, so I thought it might have actually been a Rocky film.
It's funnily enough, actually, his part in the King Richard film, he's playing the part of the Williams sisters' father, and he is a bit abusive in that. So that's why in his acceptance speech on Oscar night, he said, talk about arts reflecting reality or reality reflecting art, and he was very apologetic. But does it justify what he did?
So for those of our listeners who haven't somehow...
Who've been on a different planet.
Yeah. What exactly happened, briefly?
Chris Rock was basically made a joke at Jada Smith's expense about her losing hair. And obviously her losing hair is due to a medical condition. She's got alopecia or something.
I think so, yeah.
And at first, Will Smith found this hilarious. but then
he was laughing along, wasn't he?
Yeah, but then he looked over and saw Jada's reaction, then he got all upset and walked up and basically slapped Chris Rock on stage.
Yeah.
And
it was quite convenient that he was sat on the front row, right in front of the stage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't difficult for him, was it?
No. But I think Chris Rock took it like a champ, So I think he did well.
Did you see any of it, Ford?
Yes. Obviously, Chris Rock was presenting the Oscars. That's why this is important, relatively important. Not really. Yeah, so it was all on stage, all on camera, It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I have a problem, right, with comedians who think they can just make fun of everyone and anything, and they can get away with it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of on Will Smith's side.
Wasn't it? It was in bad taste. Is he the best choice for presenting such a prestigious and almost not family viewing? I mean, most people aren't interested to watch it anyway. I'm an avid film enthusiast, and I got a vested interest in one of my pastimes being collecting some of these films. But I don't stay up till 3 a.m. to watch the thing, Obviously, that's a time zone thing. But is he the best choice of presenter? Were they really hoping that something controversial might happen?
Well, I mean,
by choosing Chris Rock,
it's kind of desperation. The viewership for Oscars has gone down drastically, and they remember when Ricky Gervais was hosting Golden Globes. That was the best thing about the Golden Globes, and the viewership went up because of that. So I think that was probably trying to replicate that in some way. And Ricky Gervais was nowhere, he wasn't politically correct at all. He was insulting everybody in the crowd.
Yeah. Right.
And everyone loved it. But it was a bit
court controversy gave better numbers on the viewers.
Yeah, he just never got slapped to it, I think.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. If someone was making fun of my wife, I feel like I would do something about it. Maybe not punch them, but maybe I would.
I think.
I don't
think you, instead of it really. I mean, it is now. We're talking about this rather a lot. It's now looking like this could be a breaking point in Will Smith's career. He's had to resign from the Academy, which for a big name movie star like him is a big. Other people have been removed from the Academy often for sexual abuse and things like that.
Yeah.
Mentioning other names, and they're talking about they've pulled the filming on some of his films that he's currently working on. There's some big debate whether a TV show that he's been starring in is now going to be released or not. A lot of it's already in the can, filmed.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it was due to be launched in the next few months, I think.
I think this is a bit over the top. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's between one man and another, and Chris Rock isn't one of pressing charge, so.
No.
So why is everyone all up in arms about it? It's between him and him. He didn't slap everyone in the room. He slapped Chris Rock.
I kind of agree with that to a degree, but I think there's also the fact of what does it portray to people watching as an acceptable form of expressing your grievance with somebody. Is it okay just to literally walk up to somebody and smash them in the face?
I mean, Chris Rock seems to think so.
Yeah.
And he's the one who got smashed in the face. So.
Yeah.
But I think also, why is it affecting his career? I mean, if I punch someone in the face for insulting my wife, I'm not going to get fired. That's weird.
But people do get fired for all sorts of reasons. Like Formula One drivers get fired for being from the wrong country, as in Russia at the moment. So it does seem.
But it reminds me of Jeremy Clarkson. I mean, he got fired for nailing someone in the face, and by all accounts, there was no good reason.
I mean, that was the producer of the show, though.
Well, yeah, okay.
And then he went on to have an even bigger hit with another show.
But yeah, it was very controversial for a long time, and he would never work again. But he's fine.
Yeah.
These people were fine.
I'm sure Will Smith will go on and do other things, and he's not sure. He's not like he's going to be thrown out on the street anytime soon, is he? So we don't need to feel too sorry for him. I think what could have done him a lot more good, and this could have been a completely different story, is if he'd walked up onto that stage and wagged his finger in Chris Rock's face and said, "Don't you speak to my wife about my wife like that again," and then walked off again. That would have been a bit more hard hitting, not physically, but less physically hard hitting, but more, I'm defending my wife and what a great man he is for, and sometimes humour. You know what I mean? It could have been a completely different story.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because he got physical, drop of a hat, blink of an eye, that's where the controversy lies. Yeah.
Well, good.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not if you're Chris Rock or Will Smith, but there we are. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on, shall we?
Alrighty.
You have something else to say as well.
Yeah, last piece of news, I think. Lord of the Rings.
Sorry.
You right?
Can I just say one more thing on that last subject?
Yeah,
the saddest thing about it is how it has distracted from everything that we rightly put first in our conversation about some of the other films that needed to be talked about.
But no one cared about the Oscars anyway.
Yeah, I know, but think how you would feel if you'd have made that achievement but didn't get any publicity because it's all about Will Smith. Anyway, yeah. Especially this year as Coda won, it's an important film to talk about, and it didn't get any conversation really.
I'm skeptical whether it would have got any conversation anyway.
Do you think?
No one talks about the Oscars anymore. No one cares.
Don't be like that. They do care. They do care. They blazing it all over the DVD covers, don't they?
But the film people care, but not everyone. Like, no one actually on the street cares.
Are you saying I'm wasting my time with my passionate collection of DVDs?
I mean, everyone's got to have their hobby, right?
You don't want to inheritate my collection, then?
I wouldn't say no. I've got space for it.
Carry on anyway. You were going to say something about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, good. Lord of the Rings, the trailer for the new prequel series has just dropped. Well, I say just a little while ago now. I wondered if either of you had seen it, for one.
No.
Have we talked about this?
Right. We talked about the prequel series for Game of Thrones being cancelled, but I don't think we've talked about this.
But also we have talked about it in theory, but we haven't actually talked about this trailer that's just come out because the internet is annoyed. Can you believe it? Shock and horror.
The whole internet is upset.
The internet, yes. They're annoyed because there is a black elf in it.
Ah.
Yes, and obviously elves aren't. No, they have never been black before.
The same with dwarf. There's a black queen dwarf, isn't there, or something like that?
Oh, is there really?
With no beard, yeah.
Oh yeah, beardless dwarf. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Oh right.
Which isn't right, apparently. And there's a woman in armor at the end of the trailer as well.
It's Galadriel, isn't it? I think.
Is it actually Galadriel?
Yeah.
Huh.
Same actress and everything.
Wow.
Controversial thing. So how do you stand on all that?
Yeah. I kind of understand where they're coming from because obviously it's all twisting of the law and turning it into, I don't know, what do you call it? Virtue signaling?
Yeah.
But it's whatever. It's fiction.
Oh, we would never have dreamed of having a female Doctor Who, would we, until recent years?
Well, there's nothing within the law of Doctor Who that says that the Doctor cannot be female. But dwarves live underground all of their life, and they do all have beards, even the women.
Yeah.
So you can't get a non-pale, black bearded female dwarf, not non-bearded female dwarf within the law anyway. Yeah.
Especially as this is a prequel. Now, if you were going forward in time, maybe there has been a subsect of the race that did venture above ground and did live in a hot climate for many thousands of years, and then bred with the white dwarfs or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Tolkien's dead. You can make up
we
what you
call
want.
that evolution.
Yes.
But this is a prequel, so obviously, where did the black dwarfs go in the future films?
But there's not even black dwarves. There's black dwarf.
Oh, one dwarf. Yeah. Okay.
So it's just a bit weird, isn't it?
You got to be careful how you talk about this, I think, because you could say, well, if it's only one, he wasn't even part of a race of black dwarfs. He was just like a genetic thing, that happened.
A magic dwarf.
Yeah, a one-off. special, unique, But then, obviously, he didn't go on to have any children because there's no future Black Dwarfs in any of the films that have already been made. TV. Is it a film series?
A series, yes.
Okay. It's a series of films or a TV series?
A TV series.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the I don't know, there's most money spent on it ever or whatever. It's already tallying up to like 1 billion, which is the most anything's ever been spent on a TV series. So they're pretty confident.
Wow.
So
we're going to be watching it. They're hoping we will.
Yeah, I think they've annoyed a lot of people all of a sudden, but I don't know if that's going to stop people coming to see it. I think I will. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'd watch it as well. I'm hyped for it too.
Wow.
But I'm a little bit skeptical,
If they're willing to change the law on these weird things, I guess it's a bit concerning. Yeah, I suppose. Well, but like I say, I'm kind of on both sides. I don't know if it matters that much, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't know where I stand on it, to be honest. The purists are obviously going to be disappointed, upset, or annoyed, whichever fits the bill the most. But it's very similar to the situation we found when we were watching Isaac Asimov.
Oh, Foundation.
Foundation, yeah.
Yeah.
And how the TV show has completely altered the story. Not complete, but added stuff that wasn't in the books.
Yes. Yeah.
The significant aspects of the book have been developed and changed. Because I've not read the books, it didn't bother me as much as it did you and my brother. So could you say that this Lord of the Rings situation is similar to that?
It's tricky because I assume this is supposed to all be within the same universe. It's supposed to be canonical. It's this follows on from that,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it doesn't make sense. It sounds like they're just completely disrespecting the law of the universe. Not the law of the universe, LORE. Yes, just to make their political statements about gender equality and racial equality and, I don't know, beardlessness, I guess. Apparently they care about. So, yeah, it just feels a bit, yeah.
I mean, if you want to increase the racial diversity in a TV show like that, surely you can do it without there being any controversy. There are human actors in it as well, aren't there? There are characters, that are increase the racial diversity within that group of actors.
Those characters,
characters. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Why don't you do that? And then you avoid all this.
There you go.
Oh well, people. It gets some headlines, doesn't it?
There's a lot of people who otherwise would be really looking forward to this, and they're bringing a lot of hype themselves, but now they're boycotting it.
Okay.
Like Lord of the Rings fans who the publisher would be relying on basically to push the film. Now they're boycotting it. So why?
Okay.
Why though?
But then do you come against those people and say, well, you just need to get on with the times? You're being racist, sexist, just generally bigoted. Yeah. Do you say that, or do you say actually no? They just care about the original source material, which I don't see anything wrong with personally, as long as you're not hating on people. There's a tricky line to walk there, but yeah.
Yeah. That's reminded me of something else I'd like to mention in this section, if that's okay.
Oh, let's do it.
Have you finished?
Yeah, I think so. One? I just didn't know if you want to comment on the fact that it's the most expensive thing ever, but yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder what you're going to get on screen for that.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer looks pretty good. I mean, it looks a little CGI as well. Like, even the live action people, the actors they have look a bit CGI, so I don't know.
Oh, that's not very good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I've watched it on my phone.
Nothing wrong with CGI if it's done well, but if it's done obviously badly, then you're not getting value for your money, are you?
But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. What's this thing you want to talk about?
Another fan group that are outraged at the moment. Some of you may know that one of my... I say this because I haven't been on it for a while. A game that I'm passionate about is Elite Dangerous.
Yeah.
And I've been playing it. I originally started playing this game on my Mac, and then they withdrew support from the Mac, so I had to port my account over to PlayStation, and been playing it on there successfully. It's been a good game on the consoles, both Xbox and PlayStation. Never been as popular on the consoles as it is still on PC. That's where the biggest fan base is. But in the last few weeks, there's been a big announcement. Earlier last summer, so it's been a while now, probably 6 months or more, late last summer, sorry, Elite Dangerous, or Frontier Development, who produced the game, released a massive update on the game, which included being able to walk around. So that was a new thing, and it became a first-person shooter as well as a flying spaceship game, by the way, if you didn't know what the game was all about. I'm not going to talk too long about it.
Are we talking walking around your ship or walking around planets?
Well,
or
walking around planets, definitely. Walking around structures on planets, bases. You still couldn't walk around your own ship, which is what most people really wanted. But this was a prelude to doing that. But also now, more recently, you can walk around fleet carriers as well as planetary bases. But they've kind of included it so you can have gun battles and things like that. First-person shooter style. But a few weeks ago, at time of recording, it was a big controversy, huge upset from a large number of the fan base of the console players that they will not be releasing the update that does that, called Odyssey, will not be going to console. In fact, support for the console game is no longer going to be developed.
Wow.
They will continue to support the game, but obviously it's going to die out because there'll be no more updates to it other than patches to keep it safe. So any future content development is only going on to PC. So they withdrew support to Mac many years ago. They've withdrawn support now to consoles because it's just too hard. The consoles don't cope with it properly well enough. And now it's going to be a PC only game. But the reason I mention it now is because it's reminded me of your conversation about Lord of the Rings, how some people care so passionately about this. There has been outrage online, and actually I think it's okay to be passionate, but when it goes into abuse and threats against the people who are making these games, then I think you're crossing a very, very dangerous line. And at the end of the day, all of this stuff is either it's just a TV show or it's just a computer game. Yes, we can care about the things that we enjoy, but do we really, really see them as that important that it's okay to be abusive and threatening to other people over? I'm sad about console being withdrawn from but hats off to Frontier Development, FD, that they're looking at ways of porting our characters as console players over to PCs and keeping all our achievements and all of our assets so that we can go and play on the PC platform if we want to. It means I'd have to buy a PC, I suppose. But anyway.
So I've got a question.
Yeah.
Like, you probably paid for the console version.
Yes.
Are they giving you a free PC version? Because
they might do. That is in the offering.
Right.
It's been talked about anyway. Yeah.
Nice.
Or if you buy the Odyssey version, you'll get the Horizons, which is the version that we're running on for free. So you don't have to buy Horizons and then the upgrade to Odyssey.
Right.
So so that's a possibility. Yeah, so it's disappointing, but the Twitterverse sometimes astounds me with people's guile and
I think it's the internet in general. Fans are the worst.
It's not been. I've seen people and I don't like them.
Well, it sounds like those people could do with a little dose of what we're going to talk about next.
Oh, shall we move on?
Little tease for what's up now.
And now it's time for Devon's chosen subject.
Okay, today I wanted to talk about something that I've just been had on my mind for a little while. It's more of like a free-form unstructured conversation, I suppose, to try and get your guys' opinion before I kind of set on mine.
Oh,
because Ford was asking me, what's your actual stance on this before we started, and I was like, I don't actually know fully.
Okay.
I'm probably leaning one way or the other, but it's I like to bring things that I'm not fully set on, so I can kind of get opinions.
Keeps it interesting.
Yeah. So my whole thing I'm talking about today is life satisfaction and how that may relate to responsibilities that one would have in their life. Because I see a lot of people saying that, you can just be who you want, do what you want, and that's it. That's all that life is, and it doesn't. Nothing else really matters. As long as you are who you want to be, then brilliant. But that's not really my personal experience with what actually brings life satisfaction. Because I may just want to go out and do only what I want to do, but life satisfaction comes when I'm looking after my own responsibilities, like my wife or my child, or going to work. If I never went to work, then my life satisfaction would be an all-time low, even though I don't want to go to work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand.
But it's kind of, is life satisfaction even important in the first place, again, as Christians, I suppose? Is that something that we should be aiming towards, or is it just a product of something else? Yeah, that's basically it.
Right. I think there's something, I okay, I'll say this. I definitely noticed I had to spend, well, about 11 days cooped up in a little room,
Yeah.
a spare bedroom, thinking, oh, it was lovely weather. Normally I'd be out there working and getting some kind of job satisfaction, but I had to spend those 11 days because of this COVID virus, hunkered down and hiding even from my wife, for a good number of days of that. But enjoying actually some of the aspects of that, as in being able to watch some films that I would like to have seen, being able to play some games that I wanted to play. So there was aspects of that did bring enjoyment, but I was mighty relieved just to be able to get back to doing some things that I am responsible for, providing an income for myself and my wife and our household. Thankfully, most of my children are of an age where you self-supporting, but we've got responsibilities. I don't think I could sit by and just do nothing for the rest of my life. And I think that's where you were coming from, wasn't it? That actually having a job to do is important.
Yeah.
So I'd agree with that. Your opening statement. If I was financially independent and didn't need a job, what would I fill my time with? I think you can't just sit playing computer games all your life. I think I'd want to find something that I could contribute with.
Yeah.
But that might be some kind of voluntary thing, or it might be pastimes and interests or social activities with other groups of people.
If you had the ability to take a day or two off every few days, that is something that you may want to do.
Yeah.
But obviously, then you would be giving up on your responsibilities or just taking more time than you need. Now, is that good? And would that bring you life satisfaction? And is that even something that you'd want to be aiming for in the first place?
I'd love to only work 3.5, 4 days a week. Have more time off in the week than work time. I'd love to be able to do that. I think that would be a lovely balance. It depends what you get from your job, isn't it? Is your job more than just a means of earning money, or does it bring other qualities to your life?
Yeah.
But I think the theory is that even if you hate your job and you hate having to do the washing up and this, that, and the other, you can at least sit down at the end of the day and think, yes, I did what I was supposed to do, and that the world is better for me having done it. Or even in my house is slightly better for having cleaned it. And there's a sense of real, almost pleasure, probably real joy or satisfaction, like we're talking, in having done that, and that's the highest goal, is to affect change and feel good about it. In a way, I do kind of agree with Devon. I don't know if that is necessarily biblical. Maybe not to say it's not biblical, but maybe it's not enough. Maybe not enough to give true satisfaction.
Well, funny you should say that.
Okay, go on.
Okay.
Because if you put it like this way, should things and us doing things satisfy us? Should that be the thing that satisfies us? Or should it be something else? And there's just a couple of verses. Well, there's actually quite a lot of verses about satisfaction in the Bible. But I'll just read a couple. So Isaiah 58:11 says, "And the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places and makes your bones strong." So that's quite interesting. That is talking about being satisfied yet in scorched places, but that's not satisfied because you're in scorched places doing the job. It's because the Lord has satisfied you.
He is our satisfaction. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. In every circumstance.
Yeah, and Psalm 107:9 says, "For He satisfies the longing soul, and the hungry soul feels for good things." And it's all about the Lord satisfying you.
But there is a sense, isn't there, that you should pick up your cross and follow me. There is a sense of labour required in order to be in God.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of just sitting. There are verses where it talks about, resting in God, but I don't think that's the default position for a Christian, because there is stuff to do. We're supposed to be servants. Servants do stuff.
Yeah. But it's not the act of doing something that would satisfy you.
No, right. Yeah, it's who you're doing it for.
That's a good point.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just doing things for the sake of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I do think there is a legitimate pleasure and joy in looking back on your day and thinking, yes, I did something productive today.
Something. Yeah, it's good for the human soul, I think. I mean, if you worked in a factory on a production line, which I have done in the past, picking up something with your left hand and putting it in a box, and then picking up something with your right hand, and then whatever, and you're doing that for 8 to 10 hours a day, there's not a lot of job satisfaction at the end of that, because you only get recognised for when it goes wrong. So maybe it's the inner need for us to have recognition. That's certainly something I believe humans need to be recognised. You know, not you don't do it just to be put on a pedestal, but to, you know, what they say is babies cry for it and soldiers die for it. You know, recognition. I think that's important. But we've been created by God, as we believe, for a purpose, you know, but what is that purpose is for each of us to decide, I think, isn't it? It is perhaps, I've always liked, one more thought, then I'll shut up. Having had family members who were on life support in intensive care for periods of time, I came away from spending a week in that environment at the bedside. It was my dad, actually, at the time, when he was having heart attack and the heart bypass operation, you know, and with a whole different respect level for people who make a difference in other people's lives. And maybe that's it, you know, maybe there's something about that, you know, if only my job made a difference to somebody else. Now, working on a production line in a factory doesn't necessarily give you that, but I think it's still something about that that's important. And maybe if you are in one of those types of jobs, you find other ways of making a difference. Or whether my thoughts are rambling and off track from what you wanted to discuss, I don't know.
No.
Because you headed it responsibility, but now we've gone on to satisfaction.
Well, it's kind of both, to be fair.
Yeah, I know it's all wrapped up together. But there's also scripture, and I said I'll shut up. There's also scripture about if a man, by that it means human rather than man, if a person that doesn't work, he doesn't eat, you know. I can't point to it where it says that, but, you know, there's something about that he won't do it all for us. You don't just get it all dropped in your lap. God expects us to play our part. You know, whether it's about feeding our families or looking after ourselves or providing for others, there is an expectation on us by God that he's not going to do for us what he expected us to do. You know, and we've got responsibility, and also God's got responsibility. There are things that he's responsible for, you know, and we fall flat on our face when we do what God's responsible for, and we expect God to do what we're responsible for. I think you know, that's when things go wrong. You know, we play God, or we expect God to do what he's expected us to do. And on that thought, I'll shut up.
That's good. I like that.
Got a very, very good point with the production line thing, because that's kind of in the situation that I'm in right now. It's not that bad, because it's not the production line type thing, but it's a job that I'm not getting satisfaction for. Well, every day is different and every job's different, but it's not. It's not CID, you know. It's not what I wanted to be. It's still very challenging, and I'm learning loads on a day-to-day basis. But I'm a production and commercial analyst. It's not solving crimes.
When routine sets in, it can be a bit demoralising.
So I don't get a huge amount of job satisfaction from that. But being the sole income provider for my family, Rebecca does a very good job at making me feel appreciated and recognised, like you were talking about.
Is that enough to make it feel worth it?
I think, right now, yes. Because we've got things that we need to do in life. We need to get a house, we want a new car, we want X, Y, and Z. And Rebecca, right now, isn't working, because I'm not asking her to work at all, because I'm grateful that she feels comfortable staying at home with Fionn.
She's doing a very much more important job.
Exactly, yeah. Like that's my dream, is that she would never... Well, yeah, it is more important, to be fair.
More long lasting. What she's doing will have a bigger impact on one particular individual than anything you can do, mate.
If she messes up, it's a lot bigger of a deal, I think. And I'm very thankful that she's willing to do that. Because that's what I've always wanted as well, is for my wife to never have to work. She can if she wants, but she doesn't have to. And she, as I said, she does a really good job at making me feel valued and recognised for doing well at work and bringing in the money that we need. So that's where that satisfaction probably comes from. But again, should it come from there? I don't know. Should it solely come from knowing that I'm doing the Lord's work, or whatever it would be? And obviously my calling right now, my responsibility, is to look after my wife and child. So that
it might
is
be enough for now. You don't know, do you? You know what the future holds, none of us do, but you know, that's a re-evaluation process, isn't it? As time goes on, there'll be different seasons in our lives.
Yeah, of course.
And there's nothing wrong with saying that what's right now isn't going to be right later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I don't think we need to beat ourselves up if we feel, oh, I'm not serving the Lord. We serve our Lord in everything we do.
Exactly.
So, we can serve God in all different ways. And like we talked earlier about, who, did you say, Ford, about making it compulsory? Oh, no, which one? Who said compulsory?
For
charity work.
Charity work, There's lots of different things. Even just giving something, a gift, do you know what I mean? I sat on the sofa watching all the coverage about Ukraine recently, and it was easy to send a tenner with a text message to disaster relief. It's a small thing. I'm not offering to host a family from Ukraine, but I'm happy to contribute to those who are doing that kind of thing. I shouldn't probably mention it now, but it's not about trying to big myself up. You just do what you can when you can, don't you? But I'm sorry, I'm missing the big question that you're asking. I keep.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all just about life satisfaction. I suppose.
I can envision a scenario where a person has a choice to make, and on one hand they have the potential for life satisfaction in worldly pursuits, maybe you'd say that, and then on the other hand there is what God's asking you to do.
Yeah. And
I think what you're asking is, I know it's dumb when I put it this way, but should we care about the life satisfaction if we have the option to do what God says? Is that kind of how you framed the question at the beginning?
Kind of, yeah. It's like, is life satisfaction what we should be aiming for? That should be our focus. Yeah.
I can imagine a scenario where no, we shouldn't be chasing after life satisfaction, because what God says is what we should care about, and how God wants us to be doing our daily life. And I think that's what essentially we're here to do, to figure out how God has designed us to impact the world. I think that's a constant discovery we're making with ourselves and with God, is what does he actually want from us? Because I think that does change over time.
Yeah.
And right now, maybe that does mean you have to go to work and do a sucky job.
Definitely.
We shouldn't despise the waiting, which is hard for me, because one of my least present spiritual gifts is patience.
Yeah, I think it can be easy to become bitter if you're pulling your weight. You feel like you're doing all the things that, like we're talking about responsibilities. You're taking on a ton of responsibilities, and you see other people who aren't. I think it's very easy to get disheartened.
Yeah.
But I think that's where you have to take solace and pleasure in God and your relationship with God, and try and make every day important. And by doing that, you have to make it about the small things.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think, anyway.
Indeed.
Nice.
Well, it reminds me as well of a story of Jacob in the Bible. Remember when he wanted to marry Rachel, and if the father, was it Laban, the father, said, "You worked for me for 7 years," I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end of that, he was tricked and had to wait another 7 years to marry the right sister. He ended up marrying the wrong sister.
Yeah.
There's patience for you.
Should've
14 years labour to marry the woman he loved.
Should have read the contract.
Yeah.
More thoroughly.
I know we've gone from responsibility, going around the houses a bit, but now we're on to patience. But yeah. Did that go the way you expected, Devon?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
You kick the ball off, don't you? Set it rolling.
I do, yeah. Just for a little conversation,
We dribble around the pitch and want to see where it goes.
Yeah. It's just it probably comes from around where I live now. There's a lot of people who don't have jobs, and they get paid to not have jobs, and they seem very happy. They drive a better car than I do. They see their children all day, every day, and it's just like, so why? Like, where do they get their satisfaction? Like, what are they aiming for?
Well,
what's going on in their heads?
That's the point. Are they happy inside? That we don't know. They might have the stuff that you haven't got, which is bizarrely ironic and ridiculous. That they can seemingly to be doing better than you, but are they a better person for it? Is an unknown question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would argue no. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we're arguing purely materialistically, then there are ways in which we can get things easily. But the things we want, easy peasy. But we can't. I don't think we should focus on those things.
But as Dad was saying, Rebecca being there for my daughter all the time is extremely, extremely important.
Yeah.
And these guys who don't have jobs, they're there for their children all the day, every day. So if that's that important, then is that what I should be doing as well?
Yeah.
Is that something that is valuable in and of itself, because they're there for their children? Whether they're doing a good job or not, that's another thing. But they're actually there.
Thing is, you're being there in a different way. You're being there as a good example of how someone is contributing to a family or in a society. Just lazing around all day, that's no good example to anyone.
Yeah.
But the other worrying aspect of that is where people aren't always able to have one parent at home to do that important job of childcare. And where both parents have to go out, and this is probably the more common dynamic.
Yeah.
And then there isn't that other level of, if you like, satisfaction necessarily, but it's a hugely tricky balance, isn't it? In terms of provision, meeting needs, and having satisfaction in it all, and doing the important jobs of bringing up families.
Yeah, very good.
Very deep. Very good.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thought-provoking. I'm sure it's going to stay with me for a while, thinking all that through.
I assume this has all come from Jordan Peterson stuff.
No, it's
No?
just
Oh.
it's just my thinking as I'm walking around.
Yeah.
I just
Cool.
think about things.
Doing your mundane job, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As I say, my job
Your job
is very different, and I wouldn't call it mundane at all. And
Yeah.
I'm talking to some very, very interesting people every day.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
if
very
any,
cool.
if any of your colleagues are listening, I didn't mean that.
No, it's very cool, but it's just not. It's not.
It's not CID.
Exactly. It's not.
You know,
I'm not solving
where
murders,
every day is going to be a very different challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I never saw myself working in a position like this. But
Okay.
right now, I'd say right now it's good, and it's what we need right now. And I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it's always going to be set forever. But
No. Well, one thing I know, Devon, wherever you go, whatever work you do, you're always going to be respected and wanted. And I don't think you've ever left a job that the boss wanted you to go. They've always tried to keep you, haven't they?
yeah,
So you can turn your hand to most things.
yeah, that's right. All right.
Very good.
Well, thank you.
As always, interesting to me, anyway.
Let's set your next assignment and say, hasta la vista, baby.
All right. Up next time, we review a film.
Oh,
And the film that has been voted most on Polly, which is in the description below, the links. The film we're going to review is Prince of Egypt, the 1998 cartoon.
wow. Yeah.
Is it a cartoon?
It's not a cartoon; it's an animation.
Excuse me. Animation.
I thought that would be your pack.
Yeah, I should have, could have known.
Yeah.
No, this one's a classic, but
I'm looking
yeah.
forward to it.
yeah, I'm
I don't
looking
know
forward to
if
it.
I've got it. I'm sure I must have it. Yeah, I've got it. I'm sure I have on DVD. Where can we watch or listen to? Yeah, but we watch, isn't it? You can't listen to it.
Disney Plus, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it'll be on Disney Plus.
surely.
Let me just see if I can find out on Just Watch website if there's any other places it's available.
I don't know if it is a Disney film,
Oh really?
No, surely it is. It's not on.
Oh, it's
Disney
available on. You can. Oh no, it's on Sky, on Now TV, and on Virgin Media.
Oh dear.
But you'd have to pay £2.49 on Amazon, Chili, YouTube. You can't watch it on YouTube for free.
All right, so it sounds like we're going to have to buy the DVDs.
Yeah, if you haven't got Sky subscription, it looks like it's available on Sky for free.
So that is what's coming up next episode.
Marvellous.
Shall we wrap this puppy up?
I must admit, watching the films are my favourite assignments.
Yeah. I think the games are my favourite ones, but
Okay, yeah.
Alrighty. If you could be anyone throughout history, who would you be?
You drop these things on us from nowhere. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know. Who's your favourite
Yeah.
historical figure?
I mean Achilles is pretty sick.
yeah,
sure.
okay.
He got
mean-
shot in the ankle.
Yeah, it's only once.
And he's Brad Pitt, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
And who's cooler
I'd be
than Brad Pitt as
Yeah,
Achilles?
Brad Pitt, that'd be it. Yeah.
Yeah, just
not,
be-
not Achilles, just Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
He is in history. I can't blame that.
He's
He's
in
living a
some of
nice
the
life.
coolest films, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's in that new one I want to go and see with Sandra Bullock at the moment. What's it called? I forgot now. Like an action adventure film.
I don't know.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think it's out yet. It's about to come out. Trailers are running at the moment for it. She's a writer, an author of adventures, and one of the stories comes to life, and
Alright,
Brad Pitt's in it.
that's not the one I was thinking. But okay, cool.
There's some great lines in the trailer. Makes you laugh. Anyway, go on.
All right.
Sorry.
Well,
Yeah, I'd be Brad Pitt. That's my answer.
good.
Or I'd just be happy having Brad Pitt's hair.
Your criteria for someone in history, someone with hair.
Yeah.
All right. This has been Fear of Anything, believe it or not. We do this every so often. If you want to be alerted as to when our next episode comes up, then please do subscribe.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell icon if you're doing it on YouTube. Yes, in the description, if you'd like to vote on what we review next. If you look in the description, there are links to the different subjects, and our next one will be music.
Ooh.
So, presuming you want to vote on the next one, you click on that link and do a little vote. Is there anything else you guys want to say?
I think so.
Please do contact us if you want to comment on anything we've said, or I don't know, give us a suggestion for our next assignment or segment. All the contact details are in the description below.
I'm going to head off now and Google Brad Pitt hairpieces.
Yeah, so you should. Yeah.
Live your best life.
Alrighty. On that note, thank you.
Take care. You didn't say who you wanted to be, by the way.
Who am I going to be? Jesus.
Did
Can I be
Ford
Jesus?
say, did Devon say it? Who he'd want to be?
I said Achilles, didn't I? And then that's where you got Brad Pitt from.
Yeah, that's what I got.
I don't know if I'd want to be Moses, since we'll be viewing him next week, but he had a rough old time of it.
You
didn't
did, yeah. I wouldn't want to be Moses.
No.
Yeah.
What would happen if Brad Pitt and Achilles bumped into each other? There'd be some kind of a quantum, what do you call it? When you
paradox. Yeah.
Paradox, that's it. Yeah.
Time paradox.
Would there be a paradox?
Brad Pitt, Achilles, and Moses walk into a bar.
And come back next time to hear the punchline to that joke.
Oh no. You've got
Alright.
to come up with a punchline. Alright. Thank you very much everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.